Okay, 6.2, solving quadratic equations. Last day, we found minimum and maximum values by going from standard form to vertex form. Today, we're gonna go back to our last unit and go into factored form. We're gonna solve a question today using factored form. So we have an equation here. Let's factor it out. First step is always, is there a greatest common factor? In this case, yes, there is. It's 5. So when we divide this all up by 5, we get x squared plus 7x plus 6. We can then factor this. Because x is equal to 1, we can man this out. They have to multiply together to get 6. Add together to get 7. And our numbers are going to be 6 and 1. So 6 and 1. And there we go, fully factored. Well, to now find the values of x, though, we're going to set them to 0. So I'm going to take this x plus 6, and I'm going to set it to 0. And I'm going to take the x plus 1, and I'm going to set it to 0 as well. And now we can solve. X is equal to minus 6, and here x is equal to minus 1. So we know our values of our two different values of x. Doing another question here, 2x squared plus 3x is equal to 2. Put this into standard form. 2x squared plus 3x, gonna move this to the other side of the equal sign, minus 2, and that leaves us with a 0 out here. We can factor this out. We have to do it with decomposition because our value of a here is not 1. So we can still man it out though. 2 times negative 2. So our numbers have to equal minus 4. And add 2 plus 3. And we know 4 times 1. And 4 minus 1 will give us 3. So I'm going to put my 4x with the 2 here. So 2x squared plus 4x minus 1x minus 2 equals 0. Pull out a greatest common factor here of 2x. So 2x leaves me with x plus 2. Pull out a greatest common factor of minus 1 here. And we're left with an x plus 2 all equal to 0. 2x minus 1 and x plus 2. There we go, factored is equal to 0. And once again, to find these x values, we can set them both to 0. So 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. 2x is equal to 1. X is equal to 1 divided by 2. So x is equal to a half. And over here, x plus 2 is equal to 0. X is equal to minus 2. So we have our two possibilities for x. And of course, in both these cases, here we have a parabola. We know that is crossing at minus 1 and minus 6. And it's opening upwards with a value of 5. We know here we have a parabola. We know that it is, there's no a value out here, so it's opening upwards. We have an x value of, this is 1. We have an x value of a half, an x value of negative 2, and it's going to look like this kind of. So we have found our zeros. A couple other ways that you might see this. You might see something like this. So we can simplify. Let's do our distributive property. We get x squared plus x is equal to 12. X squared plus x minus 12 is equal to 0. Moving that to the other side of the equal sign. If we factor this out, our two numbers multiply to minus 12, they add to 1. Our numbers are going to be 3 times 4 is 12, And to make it work for addition, we have minus 3 plus 4. So minus 3 and plus 4. I know back when we started doing this way back in Unit 4, you knew that this was a 3 and a 4. That's where the zeros where they cross the, so at 3, sorry, and at minus 4, you knew that you had a product that looks like this. Once again, though, if we want to do it mathematically, set to 0, x is equal to 3, that should say 3, and x plus 4 is equal to 0, x is equal to minus 4, and there it is there. Another question. We can, and hopefully you recognize this, that we can, that's one of our special situations. So when we factor it out, it's a difference of squares. We get that. To find out what the n is, which is same as x, 2n minus 1 is equal to 0, 2n's are equal to 1, n is equal to 1/2. And 2n plus 1 is equal to 0, 2n's is equal to negative 1, n is equal to negative 1 divided by 2. So there's our two values. Crosses the y-axis at a half and at a negative half as well. All right, so let's solve a problem. We have a rectangle. And it says that one side is this, one side is this, and the area is 24. Let's solve it. So we know that area is equal to length times width. Area is 24. The length is x plus 8. And the width is x minus 2. Big thing here, brackets. The whole length times the whole width. Let's simplify by foiling this out. X times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. 8 times x is plus 8x. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. All right, we can factor this. And before we do that though, we are going to move our 24 to the other side. And simplify. So negative 16 minus 24 is minus 40. All right, so now we can factor this out. A is equal to 1, so I can start with this. Man, we have to multiply to minus 40, add to 6. Our numbers are going to be 4 and 10. Minus 4 plus 10 is positive 6. Minus 4 times 10 is minus 40. So minus 4 and 10. X minus 4 is 0. X is 4. And x plus 10 is 0. X is minus 10. So these are our two possible values. However, we know that this one is not possible because it's a negative value. So this is our answer here. If we sub in 4 for x and multiply that out, we will get 24. That's it.